How about a little friendly competition?
Bush did 9/11. What? Now listen up here, pimps. I don't ever talk about the furry franchise because generally I like my mailbox like I like my women, without the giant ticking pipe. But let's talk about the one game from this series I have played, Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow the Hedgehog is the edgy entry to the blue furry franchise because in 2005, America was getting edgy. Nirvana, Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance, it wasn't just a phase, and that cheery blue furry fuck wasn't cool enough to hang out any longer. Hence, from the blue furry's belly, a new legend was born in the edgiest colors known to man, black and red. Now for starters, this intro cutscene is some of the hardest shit I've ever seen, I'm not gonna lie. It starts with the black furry raising his gun, loading his mag, then walking up to a cliff and cocking his pump-action MP5. A nice lore-accurate note by Sega pandering to the gun nuts in the audience because that's exactly how you chamber around on the famously pump-action MP5. Great work, Sega. You guys did your research on that one. Anyways, that isn't even the best part because then the black furry hops on his American-made chopper and decides to kamikaze that sumbitch into abomination. Now, I thought they were appealing to a Western audience with this one. It's interesting they used more of an Eastern tactic there, but still, I'm enthralled. Anyways, then he starts gunning down the first squad until he has to whip out another Eastern tactic to kill these police officers, and it ends with Shadow executing the blue furry for his participation in the Emerald Coast Massacre using his 1911. By the way, all this was happening while this fantastically angsty beat was playing in the background. You can't tell me that wasn't the tightest intro sequence you've ever seen. Now, the stupidity comes when you press new game and you actually start playing it. In order to appeal to the American market, Sony wanted to add more things that we can relate to as Americans, like guns, drive-by shootings, and planes crashing. Now, on paper, this sounds fantastic. However, in actuality, I don't even feel like talking about the gameplay. It's Sonic with guns. If that tickles your nuts, then have at it by all means. The one piece of advice I'll give you is that the MG42 is the best gun because it allows you to beat Eggman in about 30 seconds, and when the mount is destroyed, you can just carry it around in one hand so that you could gun down every last black creature with style. Hell yeah! Shit, I just realized I haven't explained that joke yet, so before this video gets struck and before you take it the wrong way, let's talk about the story. This is where every last brain cell you have is gonna die, so strap in and strap on. The story begins as you, the dementia-ridden black furry, are having Family Guy-style flashbacks to that one time when you saw the UN peacekeeper gun down some random white chick in a space base. And you may be wondering, Fleek, how does this tie into the greater story? Well, keep wondering that because Sega just shot that bitch and refused to elaborate. I never saw her again in the entire rest of the story. But anyways, the PTSD wears off when Papa John's demon ghost tells you the day of reckoning will come. But not if you can find his family jewels. And the black furry's response was a fit of dementia.
Who are you and how do you know I'm Shadow? And what are you talking about?
So now you, the dementia-ridden black furry, have to go team up with the racist blue furry to get the first gem and escape New York.
Looks like these black creatures really mean business.
Once you do make it out, we then get a peek into the UN peacekeepers' lair where we find out that black aliens are terrorizing many of the world's urban environments, and that a black hedgehog is also running amok. Evidently, it was imperative that they keep specifying the color of the aliens, as if we had blue or yellow or white aliens, it would be any less severe of an alien invasion. But hey, I'll let them cook. I digress. So anyways, the general responds by telling the soldier to kill every last black creature out there.
And if you find Shadow with the black aliens, then kill them all. What did you say?
Black creatures.
These Sonic games are fucking wild. I think I'm starting to come around. I ought to play more of these. Anyways, then blah blah.
The United Federation will never surrender to terrorists.
The president has a picture on his desk of that one time that he went to FurCon. Blah blah. Somehow Eggman returns, and here we are at the part where we get into Eggman's base. Doing a nice tuck and roll in, only to find out that his plan to beat the black aliens and take over the world is to fight fire with fire.
The Eggman fleet is strong, but those black creatures are a formidable adversary.
Also, we find out that Eggman's a big ol' simp for you, so he modeled all of his new robots after his favorite soulmate Manwich, which then throws Shadow into a crisis, because it could just mean that all this time, his life was a lie. All this time, he thought he was Ryan Gosling from Drive, but in reality, he was Ryan Gosling from Blade Runner 2042. That joke will make sense to about 2% of you, I'm very sorry. Moving on, so next you start the hunt for Eggman. Fall off many platforms, find Eggman, and ask Eggman if you're a replicant. He says yes. You don't like the answer, so you gun him down with an MG42 one-handed. He runs, I guess. They never actually show him leave the cockpit. It just immediately cuts away to this heartwarming speech from Shadow, which goes as follows. And this is where it finishes the story with a boom, so bear with me. It's my favorite part of the story. You gotta hear this. It's the craziest shit you've ever heard. Shadow, in the 15 minutes since discovering he's an android replicant of the OG Black Furry, has now decided that his newly discovered race is the superior race and discards his edgy persona to evolve into being unironically an android supremacist, exclaiming that the Black Furry android is the pinnacle of all life forms, exclaiming further that this can pull our world out of its financial hardships, which leads the Black Furry clone to the unquestionable conclusion that now Eggman, who is not a part of this superior race, must die. I'm gonna take this moment to tell you that this is the neutral ending to an E for everyone game. This ain't even the evil ending. Red Dead 2 doesn't have shit on Shadow the Hedgehog's cinematic storytelling. Anyways, getting back to it, then you hunt down Eggman in his bunker once again, and the final boss is a giant slot machine to teach kids that gambling is fun, but only if you're doing it to overthrow a dictatorship so that you can take over his army of your brothers in order to take over the world and establish a new world order led by the superior life form.
You may have created me, Doctor, but I will now lead this empire and androids will rule!
With his mind refreshed and Eggman on his knees, the Black Furry clone's struggle is no longer. He can see the code clearly. OG Shadow is literally him. He even says it.
This is who I am!
And now, with his dementia cleared, there is only one step left in his transformation.
Executing Eggman.
What?
Goodbye, Doctor.
And without resolving most of the conflicts set up in the beginning, the credits roll. But you know what the kicker is about this entire ending? You aren't even an android. You never were.